For decades, humanity searched the freezing void of space for a second Earth. Our desperate gaze locked onto Proxima b, a rocky planet inside the habitable zone of our closest stellar neighbor, located exactly 4.2 light-years away. It represents our ultimate salvation. Yet crossing this darkness using current rockets creates a 70,000-year tomb. However, a massive breakthrough in space theory has shattered this barrier. Declassified blueprints reveal a terrifying truth about how the universe explained actually operates. Earth is constructing a revolutionary laser propulsion network to physically invade this distant world in just 2 decades. As scientists activated the primary phase, what they saw next would change everything we thought we knew. For years, modern astronomy sold humanity a profoundly comforting illusion. We were led to believe that Proxima b was a second Earth, a peaceful terrestrial twin waiting quietly just beyond the familiar borders of our solar system. However, the true nature of this exoplanet is a fatal, terrifying deception. The absolute master of this planetary system is Proxima Centauri, a red dwarf star that exercises brutal control over its domain. Unlike the steady golden warmth of our sun, this volatile star emits a dim, blood-red glow, bathing its surrounding planets in a sinister, perpetual twilight. This environment is entirely hostile, immediately stripping away any romantic notions of a tranquil galactic refuge. To fully comprehend the terrifying reality of this world, we must thoroughly examine the merciless mechanics of its orbit. Because a red dwarf is exceptionally small and generates incredibly low amounts of thermal energy, its habitable zone is dragged perilously close to the raging stellar surface. In order to receive enough warmth to theoretically support liquid water, Proxima b is forced to orbit its host star at a distance roughly 20 times closer than Earth orbits our Sun. At this suffocating extreme proximity, planetary velocity is violently accelerated. A single complete year on this rocky world flashes by in a mere 11 days. This agonizingly tight orbit triggers a catastrophic physical phenomenon known as tidal locking. The relentless gravitational anchor of the massive star acts as an inescapable, invisible vice, permanently breaking the natural rotation of the planet. Consequently, Proxima b does not experience the comforting, rhythmic cycle of a sunrise and a sunset. The entire world is violently split into 2 permanent, isolated extremes. Stepping onto the dayside exposes a massive blood-red sun that remains completely motionless in the sky, staring down eternally. The unrelenting solar radiation bakes the fractured rocky crust into a barren, scorched wasteland, instantly vaporizing any surface oceans that might have existed billions of years ago. Conversely, crossing over into the night side plunges the environment into an endless abyss of paralyzing cosmic cold. Here, temperatures plummet hundreds of degrees below zero, causing the atmosphere itself to physically freeze and collapse to the ground as a permanent toxic snow. It is a silent, frozen tomb shrouded in absolute eternal darkness. Separating these 2 distinct nightmares is a narrow, continuous border known as the Terminator line. While early theories suggested this twilight zone might offer a moderate, temperate sanctuary, the physical reality is profoundly disturbing. The extreme, unyielding temperature difference between the boiling hemisphere and the freezing hemisphere forces the planetary atmosphere to continuously collapse and rapidly expand. This massive atmospheric friction generates perpetual, supersonic winds that tear across the jagged, barren landscape without a single moment of silence. This is not the welcoming, pristine oasis you might see in a hopeful science documentary. It is a dual-faced hell composed of eternal fire, permanent ice, and deafening storms. A world perfectly engineered to annihilate anything that dares to cross its borders. Stepping from the shadows of perpetual supersonic storms into a far more brutal physical reality, we must confront the ultimate executioner of this planetary system. For decades, researchers desperately clung to the fragile mathematical hope that a robust planetary magnetic field might successfully trap and shield a thick, life-sustaining atmosphere. However, the cold, unforgiving lens of modern technology has systematically dismantled that optimism. By directing the revolutionary infrared instruments of the James Webb Space Telescope toward the TRAPPIST-1 system, a neighboring stellar arrangement dominated by a remarkably similar red dwarf star, astronomers sought definitive empirical proof of atmospheric retention. The official data recently published by NASA delivered a profoundly disturbing blow to the entire scientific community. Exhaustive spectroscopic analysis confirmed a stark, terrifying truth. The rocky planets orbiting within the innermost regions of that system possess absolutely no measurable dense atmospheres. They are merely naked, barren spheres of rock exposed entirely to the lethal radiation of deep space. This singular revelation within the broader field of astrophysics translates into an inescapable, horrifying death sentence for Proxima b. Because this planet is permanently locked in such an exceptionally tight orbit, it exists entirely at the unpredictable mercy of its host star. Red dwarfs are fundamentally unstable entities, notoriously prone to sudden, violent magnetic disruptions. Without a single fraction of a second of warning, the stellar magnetic fields violently snap and reconnect, causing Proxima Centauri to erupt with colossal stellar flares. These catastrophic, localized explosions are hundreds to thousands of times more powerful and frequent than any solar event our own sun has ever unleashed. During these terrifying eruptions, the dim crimson sky suddenly flashes a blinding, brilliant white. Colossal tsunamis composed of extreme X-ray and ultraviolet radiation continuously slam into the planetary surface with devastating sterilization-level force. Over the span of billions of years, this relentless, aggressive cosmic bombardment acts as an invisible, unstoppable planetary incinerator. The intense energy physically excites the atmospheric molecules, accelerating them beyond the escape velocity of the planet, violently tearing the vital atmospheric gases out into the freezing void of space. Consequently, the dayside surface of Proxima b is not merely baked by thermal heat, it is continuously and aggressively irradiated. Any complex organic molecules, along with any faint chemical precursors required for biological functioning, are instantaneously shredded apart on a fundamental subatomic level. The jagged rocks of the crust likely glow faintly under the persistent, extreme energy bombardment. These monumental new discoveries force humanity to completely discard our previous, highly optimistic models of habitable zones surrounding red dwarf stars. The environment is entirely stripped of essential protective gases, leaving behind nothing more than a highly toxic, radioactive wasteland. It is a cosmic slaughterhouse, an arena where the delicate architecture of life is systematically eradicated by the sheer, unyielding fury of stellar radiation. However, exactly where the lethal X-ray radiation sweeps across the barren landscape, the laws of biology are discovering spectacular loopholes. While the exposed outer crust of this exoplanet remains an undeniably sterilized wasteland, the sheer finality of that surface destruction does not dictate the absolute end of biological potential. Within the highly specialized, rapidly evolving field of astrobiology, leading researchers fiercely argue that our traditional, Earth-centric models might be dangerously limiting. Humanity inherently assumes that biology must proudly display itself on a sunlit planetary surface, freely breathing a thick, stable atmospheric mixture. Yet, scientists actively constructing modern theoretical frameworks for alien life confidently assert that true survival in a violently hostile cosmos often requires retreating into the profound, protective darkness. The absolute lack of a breathable atmosphere and the relentless stellar bombardment merely eradicate the possibility of surface-dwelling organisms, leaving the deep interior as an untouched, pristine sanctuary. To fully comprehend how delicate organic structures might endure such an environment, we must completely redirect our optical instruments downward. Proxima b is definitively a rocky terrestrial world, possessing a dense, incredibly solid planetary crust, likely composed of heavy, unyielding basaltic rock. Beneath several kilometers of this impenetrable geological armor, the lethal, unyielding fury of the red dwarf is completely and utterly neutralized. Deep underground, The environment is perfectly silent, highly stable, and completely shielded from the catastrophic stellar flares tearing apart the freezing void above. This pitch-black subterranean domain is exactly where top planetary scientists strongly theorize the existence of extremophiles. On our own world, these highly resilient, incredibly complex microscopic entities thrive in the absolute most punishing conditions scientifically documented, ranging from boiling acidic thermal vents to the crushing, lightless pressures of deep ocean trenches. The science explained behind their remarkable survival completely bypasses any biological requirement for gentle, nurturing starlight. Instead of desperately relying on solar radiation, subterranean extremophiles residing deep within Proxima b would independently harness raw, relentless internal planetary power. Because the rocky body is permanently locked in an agonizingly tight, violently accelerated orbit, the intense, unrelenting gravitational tug-of-war constantly flexes, crushes, and squeezes the dense planetary core. This immense, continuous internal friction naturally generates massive, localized amounts of geothermal energy. Through deep, jagged geological fault lines fracturing the planetary mantle, this scorching heat would aggressively rise upward. This thermal activity would actively power highly complex hydrothermal vent systems hidden completely in the eternal dark. Furthermore, advanced planetary formation models strongly suggest that vast ancient quantities of liquid water might not have completely boiled away into the vacuum of space during the violent youth of the star. Instead, that precious liquid could have migrated downward, slowly forming immense, world-spanning subsurface oceans locked permanently beneath an incredibly thick, insulating shell of planetary ice and solid rock. In these pressurized, heavily heated, and completely isolated aquatic sanctuaries, the fundamental chemical building blocks of biology could freely interact, spontaneously assemble, and aggressively evolve over billions of years through the process of chemosynthesis. These microscopic biological warriors would exist entirely unaware of the blood-red sun perpetually raging high above their rocky ceiling. This revelation fundamentally and permanently reshapes our understanding of modern cosmology, proving that biology is a fiercely stubborn force. As we continuously expand our advanced optical lenses far beyond the immediate borders of this burning terrestrial world, a profound new astronomical reality emerges. Proxima b does not exist in absolute isolation. Recent precision surveys have definitively proven that this violent red dwarf actually hosts an entire hidden family of distinct planetary bodies. The system showcases a level of celestial diversity so extreme it almost resembles the theoretical, wildly contrasting realities of a multiverse. Orbiting much further out in the freezing, lightless fringes of the system lies Proxima c, a massive, unyielding super-Earth. Because it sits at a tremendous distance from the host star, this giant world is completely engulfed in a permanent, deep freeze, presenting a bleak, dead landscape of solid ice and toxic rock. In stark contrast to that frozen giant, plunging even deeper into the scorching gravitational well of the red dwarf, researchers discovered a completely different entity known as Proxima d. This specific exoplanet is a remarkably tiny sub-Earth, possessing a total mass roughly equal to only 1/4 that of our own planet. It is an incredibly light, hyperactive world that is forced to whip around the raging stellar surface at terrifying orbital speeds, completing a full planetary year in a mere 5 days. The definitive discovery of these sibling worlds fundamentally shifts our understanding of planetary formation around highly unstable dwarf stars. What truly inspires absolute awe among astrophysicists is the incredibly complex, invisible architecture permanently binding these three distinct worlds together. Despite the violent, unpredictable nature of the central star, the entire system is governed by a delicate, highly sophisticated mathematical dance. The relentless gravitational interactions between the freezing super-Earth, the violently irradiated Proxima b, and the scorching, rapid Proxima d create a highly stable mechanical network. Much like the profound, unseen gravitational forces anchoring the terrifying event horizons of supermassive black holes, These distinct planetary bodies constantly pull and tug at one another across the dark void. This mutual gravitational anchoring prevents the planetary orbits from collapsing inward or violently crossing paths. This continuous, silent balancing act proves that even within the most hostile, heavily irradiated environments in the cosmos, the fundamental laws of physics construct systems of stunning architectural beauty. It is a perfectly calibrated celestial machine operating flawlessly in the deadly vacuum. Just as colossal networks of dark matter silently structure the sprawling, luminous arms of massive galaxies, the invisible gravitational tethers of the Proxima system maintain absolute physical order amidst the chaotic fury of endless stellar flares. Confronting these seemingly impossible physical barriers, the scientific elite of Earth decided to completely reshape the entire concept of interstellar travel. For decades, human space exploration relied entirely on brute force chemical propulsion. Engineers constructed colossal, towering launch vehicles holding thousands of tons of highly explosive liquid fuel just to break free from local planetary gravity. However, to successfully cross the profound, freezing darkness between distant star systems, we must completely abandon that archaic methodology. Even the absolute most advanced heavy-lift chemical rockets currently being rapidly developed and tested by ambitious private aerospace corporations like SpaceX are fundamentally useless for this specific, extreme cosmic journey. Attempting to slowly push a massive steel and fuel structure across a distance of 4.2 light-years would still unequivocally require a staggering 70,000 years of absolute dead transit. Therefore, the brightest minds in theoretical physics, heavily backed by visionary intellects such as the late Stephen Hawking, initiated a radical, multi-billion-dollar initiative officially known as Breakthrough Starshot. This unprecedented engineering project discards the traditional massive rocket chassis entirely. Instead, the actual interstellar spacecraft is aggressively miniaturized down to a single highly advanced electronic microchip known as a star chip, weighing only a few minuscule grams. This incredibly tiny flat device is tightly packed with microscopic high-resolution cameras, navigation thrusters, communication lasers, and highly sensitive measurement equipment heavily reliant on the complex principles of quantum physics to maintain precise functionality in deep space. This remarkably fragile microchip is then securely tethered to an ultra-thin, highly reflective light sail measuring exactly several square meters across, yet possessing a physical thickness equivalent to only a few hundred individual atoms. Once this incredibly delicate hardware is carefully deployed into a stable, cold, high Earth orbit, the true terrifying power of this initiative is unleashed directly from the planetary surface below. Engineers will construct a colossal, globally synchronized phase-array laser network covering miles of terrestrial real estate. Upon activation, this massive facility generates an astonishing 100 gigawatts of pure, unyielding optical energy. Thousands of individual, highly focused laser beams violently merge in the upper atmosphere into one singular, blindingly brilliant pillar of concentrated artificial light. This immense, unbroken optical force aggressively strikes the deployed reflective nanosail. Because photons of light possess actual physical momentum, the continuous, concentrated bombardment instantly begins to physically push the tiny sail forward through the completely frictionless vacuum. The sheer mechanics of this launch sequence are profoundly terrifying to comprehend. Within a matter of mere minutes, the unrelenting, extreme pressure of the terrestrial laser array violently accelerates the starship to a staggering, almost incomprehensible velocity of roughly 100 million miles per hour. This maximum cruising speed equates to exactly 20% of the ultimate speed of light. The sudden extreme gravitational forces generated during this completely brutal acceleration phase reach tens of thousands of times the normal gravity of Earth. Such a violently aggressive physical push would instantaneously crush any fragile biological human tissue into an unrecognizable liquid paste. However, the solidly constructed microscopic solid-state sensors and crystalline structural elements of the unmanned probe effortlessly survive the tremendous mechanical shock. By successfully weaponizing a concentrated beam of pure light, humanity permanently alters the mathematical equations governing the cosmos. The ambitious initiative flawlessly compresses a completely hopeless 70,000-year interstellar crawl into a rapid, highly aggressive 20-year cosmic sprint. This monumental, historical leap forward in applied science conclusively proves that we are no longer passively observing the terrifying universe from a safe distance. We are actively engineering the exact physical means to forcefully invade it. Let me know below what struck you the most: human ingenuity, or the terrifying forces these probes must survive. When these inanimate machines officially pierce through the Alpha Centauri system, an entirely new epoch for humanity will commence. Projecting our vision into the 2060s or 2070s, we will witness a scenario once dismissed by the academic community as impractical science fiction materialize into a brilliant physical reality. The entire fleet of nano-sized probes, carrying the burning survival hopes of billions of lives, will glide past this fiery planet in a rapid flyby mission at extreme velocities. Although the core approach process will occur in merely a few fleeting moments, the advanced quantum sensors will operate at maximum capacity. They will frantically sweep across the barren, scorched surface, gathering invaluable data regarding the remnants of a fragile atmospheric structure, capturing the very first high-resolution images of the brutal Terminator line region, and most importantly, they will meticulously search for the faintest optical spectral traces, confirming the existence of subterranean oceans locked beneath the fractured crust. However, the most formidable challenge for the scientific community does not reside in the moment the fleet passes the red dwarf, but rather in the suffocating wait immediately following. Even if the probes successfully complete their mission at that incredibly vast distance, we cannot receive the results instantaneously. The invaluable block of telemetry data containing the answer to humanity's greatest inquiry will be complexly encoded and transmitted back to Earth via focused laser beams. Yet, due to the unimaginably vast physical distance, the light carrying these historical images must travel for exactly 4.2 years to cross the absolute darkness of interstellar space. That is a period of completely silent, profoundly tense, and agonizingly long waiting for all the greatest minds standing watch in mission control centers. When the beam of light carrying the initial data block pierces through the atmosphere and reaches the massive receiving stations on our planet, it is not merely the conclusion of a mission, it is the most sacred moment in the entire history of evolution. At the exact second those authentic images appear on the control screens, the greatness of human intellect will illuminate the entire boundless universe. We will no longer be a small species permanently imprisoned on a solitary rock. Through pure science and unyielding determination, we have reached out and touched another world. That moment is more brilliant, tragic, and raw than any glamorous space documentary ever produced by humanity. It marks the moment Earth officially transcends the dark era of the solar system, proudly rising to become a true interstellar civilization. Ultimately, the absolute brutality of this distant planetary system serves a profoundly illuminating purpose. The relentless cruelty of the red dwarf star is not the tragic end of our interstellar dreams, but rather a magnificent cosmic lens through which we can truly witness the sheer greatness of Earth's scientific intelligence. When confronted with a completely hostile world forged by permanent fire, frozen toxic wastelands, and devastating storms of lethal radiation, human ingenuity refuses to surrender or retreat into the shadows. Instead, we adapt, we meticulously engineer, and we boldly cross the darkest voids to rewrite the fundamental boundaries of physical exploration. As we stand confidently on the vast precipice of becoming a true interstellar civilization, looking out into the terrifying beauty of the unknown, we must remember one vital truth: the universe isn't broken. Our map of it is just incomplete. What do you think? Does this change how you see our place in the cosmos? I'll keep exploring if there's more to uncover. Thanks for watching.